All right, I'm going to call the meeting to order. Today is Friday, November 10th, and the time is 10:33 a.m. We have a quorum present. All board members are present with the exception of Lance Losi. Marvin Reynolds is present via Zoom telepresence. This meeting has been duly called and notice of the meeting was posted as required by law. All right. Are we going to go right into closed session, or are we going to start with the agenda and do the
start with the agenda?
Good. All right, so we're going to jump into B, presentation of the annual financial management report, which I think is going to be Corey.
Yes, sir.
All right. So you have at it.
All right. You will find in front of you both the Premier High School and the TCPA financial accountability reports. I will start with the Premier High School financial accountability report.
Can I start by just saying, I asked Corey to spend 5 to 10 minutes max, then you can ask all the questions you want. So if you want longer, obviously you can spend more time, but he's going to go pretty quick. Okay. Thank you, Corey.
Once again, on Premier, I will first draw your attention to the fact that for the most recent year, we were once again rated A superior with a score of 100. Previous year, you'll notice probably that we were also superior, but our score was a 98. So we actually came up 2 points, which is a good thing. Along with this report, there are a few disclosures that we do need to discuss. I'll go through those right now. As it relates to a copy of the superintendent's employment contract, a copy of that contract has been provided here at this hearing. I think you all probably should have a copy of that. And anyone requesting a copy of that would be available upon that request. All right.
That's the first manila folder you have, the contract.
It's in the manila folder right there.
The first folder.
With regards to summary of schedule of superintendent and board reimbursements and credit card expenses, the charter does not incur expenses for the superintendent and board members. These expenses are covered by the nonprofit organization and are available once again upon request. Going on from there, there is no compensation or fees to report as it relates to the summary schedule of compensation or fees received by superintendent from another school district. Also, there are no gifts to report in this section with regards to the summary schedule of gifts received by officers and board members of $250 or more in aggregate.
And you should have all received an email on that, right, where you responded back.
And I only had to be chased once.
And lastly, related to summary of schedule of business transactions with the school district by board member, there are no business transactions to report in this section. So that is Premier High School. Next, we will go to Texas College Preparatory Academies.
You mind if I point out one thing? And this applies on both the TCPA and Premier. If you look at indicator 1, 2A, 2B, 3, 4, and 5, you'll see a indicator that shows next to a 1, and I think that means those you have to either get a yes or a no. So there's no point system. You're either doing it or you're not. And James, do you remember are all 6 of those automatic penalty if you don't hit them?
They are.
Okay, so that's what and you see that status, that P, the pass, and then the rest of them are based on a point system.
So when you say penalty, is it just a score drop, or is it a more fatal issue?
Well, I know a couple of them, and maybe James all 5, or all 6 of them, but I know some of them are automatically fail.
Sorry.
Like if you don't do your audit on time.
Right, exactly. Those are fatal.
I think that the not making timely payments is fatal. They change this every year. They change this 4 years in a row. So let me just scan it with Corey and James.
I believe the last 2 are not fatal. But they're,
that total net asset balance.
yeah, and the 90 days cash on hand, I believe, are not fatal. I believe the ones above that are fatal. But we'd have to look it up.
I mean, it's yeah, and just, I would be very concerned if we missed stuff like that anyway.
Right. Yep.
All right, so on to TCPA. Once again, you will note that for the year, we were superior with a score of 100. For reference, previous year, we were also superior, but that score was a 96. So we went up 4 points from the previous year on TCPA. Once again, we need to go through a few items. First, as it relates to superintendent's current employment contract, copy of that superintendent's employment contract at the time of the school first hearing is provided to each of you. To anyone else, is provided upon that request to anybody else who would like it. Also, as it relates to the schedule of superintendent and board reimbursements and credit card expenses, the charter does not incur expenses for the superintendent and board members. Once again, these expenses are covered by the nonprofit organization and are available upon request. There is no compensation or fees to report as it relates to the summary schedule of compensation or fees received by the superintendent from another school district. Also, there are no gifts to report related to the schedule of gifts received by officers and board members of $250 or more in aggregate. And lastly, in regards to the schedule of business transactions with the school district by board members, there are no business transactions to report in this section. That concludes the first reports.
Any questions? You can see on both charts, you can look at the second year and you can see a year ago, and you can see it's one area that we missed getting the 10 points. So on the Premier, it was the administrative cost ratio. That went from 8 to 10, and then you can see on TCPA, it was related to the current assets. So good job to our finance team for their hard work on all this. It's nice to be superior.
I said the bar.
Now you're at 100. It's kind of hard.
I don't know where you're
Keep it. All right. Thank you, Corey. Good job.
Very good. Yeah, thank you. All right, so do you want to move on to
We do not have anybody here.
general public comment?
Public comment.
Consent items then?
Okay, we're asking that you approve consent items 1 through 8, which are in your Dropbox. So hopefully you've had a chance to review those. Let us know if you have any questions. If not, administration is asking that you approve consent items 1 through 8. And these are all standard items that you see at different times.
Okay. I'll make a motion to approve consent items 1 through 8. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Ken Sparks. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? No. Okay. Section D, consent items passes, all 1 through 8 pass unanimously. So now we're on to separate items, which is the annual election of board officers. So that's the president / chairman, secretary, and vice president. Do we want to keep things the same?
Pretty good with that.
Yeah.
Sure. Good. So someone want to make a motion to keep it all the same?
Sure. Do we have to, I think we probably have to elect each one separately, make a motion for each one.
I don't think so. If it's all going to be by acclamation.
Okay.
Now, this man is pretty smart. I don't want to disagree with him, but as I've just sat in on many, many board meetings, I'm just thinking this is the type of thing that the record's going to show it. And if everybody's in agreement, it's not a problem to do.
Okay. All right. So do I hear a motion to keep the current board officers as me as president, Kent as secretary and Marvin as vice president.
Yeah, so I'll make that motion.
Motion made by Ken Sparks, seconded by Dan Madalena. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. There was no one opposed, so passes unanimously. All right. Please. Oh, discussion of board meetings is the next item.
We, it says 2018. We're assuming that we're assuming no one wants to have a board meeting in December. So I guess that we'd start with that. There's no need on our side of administration to have a meeting. So is everybody okay with that?
Yeah.
We do not have a December meeting. And our first meeting will be January. And that will be, the main reason for that meeting is the audit being approved.
So it'll probably be later
It'll
January?
be later than the second week. Thank you.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So generally that happens. Sometimes we've even had to have it off the Friday schedule where it's like a Tuesday or Wednesday. But any feedback from the auditor? Everything's looking good time-wise and everything?
They came over yesterday.
So it would probably be the third Friday?
Let's go with that. I'll be optimistic maybe sooner, but
Or,
We'll let you know.
yeah, and we can talk about it after too. We should probably do some form of a dinner thing or something. But make it a bigger deal. We don't do enough of that.
Agree. So, and when we do, please consider bringing your spouse to those things. All right. Okay, that was it for my end on this.
All right, so we're going to take it into closed session.
Yep.
So pursuant to section 551.071.072 and .074 of the Texas Government Code, we are authorized to go into closed session to discuss resignations, terminations, reassignments, employment, requests for leaves of absence, and other items concerning personnel, real estate matters, in consultation with our attorney. No votes will be taken until we reconvene in open session.
James, thanks for coming over.
Go. Okay, we're back in session. We've here to present what we decided in closed session, and then we make a motion, and I will make the motion to approve the contractual changes for the superintendent discussed in closed session. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Marvin Reynolds. All in favor? Aye. That motion passes unanimously, which I think was abstained by Chuck. He abstained.
That's right. He's board member.
Good, we're done. I'm going to, the meeting of the Texas Charter School boards is adjourned. Gavel.